Hello, I'm Matt Summerall, and welcome to Hibernation Station. As we record this podcast, there is huge anticipation of some normality coming back into our lives as lockdown restrictions are gradually eased over the next few days and weeks. Maybe that's the reason why bottle shops are experiencing a boost in sales, up 25% on the same time last year. The celebrations are well underway. Our big question for you this week is, how are you and your partner going with your relationship in lockdown? Is your marriage a little bit under pressure as you spend more time than usual together? Is your partner driving you up the wall? Or maybe the pandemic has brought you closer together. In this episode of Hibernation Station, we're doing a health check on our relationships. And who better to guide us through all this than sexologist, psychologist and counsellor, Dr. Nikki Goldstein.
If you're not in a position where you feel like having a lot of sex at the moment is doable or comfortable, that's okay. Don't freak out or punish your relationship for that.
Wellbeing Director Kate Lindsay is on the program to explain the 5 love languages.
He might show his love to his wife by giving her hugs. He might touch her arm or hand during conversations. That's fine for him, but that's not his wife's love language.
Naturopath, herbalist and nutritionist Amber Foley has some ideas on how to get the kids to eat a healthy breakfast.
Eggs can be really important protein sources for kids. They're easy to absorb, they're easy to digest. They're probably actually one of the superfoods the kids can get a really good protein hit from.
And our money man, wealth manager Paul Battelle, opens up the vault on how to improve your cash flow.
Additional savings is probably the hardest thing to do, but setting money aside to save for deposits for a holiday or a deposit on a house, they're probably things to think about at the moment.
All that coming up on Hibernation Station. But first, Dr. Nikki Goldstein. Right now, it's time to talk relationships. Like most of us, you've probably been spending more time than usual with your partner. Have you been missing your nights out with the girls or your Friday night at the footy with your mates or your clients? No sport on a weekend? No alone time at the gym? No trips to the beautician? Is your partner driving you up the wall? Or maybe you've become closer. Right now, we have one of the world's great relationship experts here to give us some advice on how to stay calm and connect with our partners. Dr. Nikki Goldstein holds a bachelor's degree in psychology, a postgraduate diploma in counselling. She has a doctorate of human sexuality. In fact, Dr. Nikki was twice voted Australia's best sex educator, and she joins us right now on Hibernation Station. Welcome, Dr. Nikki.
Thanks for having me.
Now, let me start. We've all been in isolation. I know things are about to change because they're releasing some of the restrictions. But there are structures and boundaries in terms of relationships that we should be working on. So tell us about that.
Well, I think if you haven't already and you're at home with your partner, one of the most important things is to set some rules in motion. And you still might need these even as restrictions get lifted, because we're still not going to go back to the life that we had before coronavirus. Yep. So that might be the expectations of who's doing what around the house. For a lot of people, they once had help, and for a long time after this, whether financially or for health concerns, that's not going to be the case. We're all eating at home a lot more. There's a lot more pressure on who's cooking, who's doing the shopping. If you're homeschooling kids, or even if you're part-time homeschooling, part-time dropping them off, who's doing that and balancing work as well? I think as much as you can get those sorts of things settled in terms of whose role, how we're going to rotate them, that's a huge amount of the burden at the moment that couples are facing, that is a lead on to all the other little things that go into a relationship, where you hear those conversations of someone saying, well, you're not helping me out the house enough, so why am I doing this for you? Or you're leaving this all up for me. If we can get those chores sorted earlier, then we're going to see, a little bit less stress on a relationship.
And many people have issues about things that have happened in the past with their partners. Like I joke when I say, lipstick on their collar, but cheating and lying. Whatever those issues might be, your advice is to put those issues on hold for now. Tell us why.
Well, I don't think that this is the best time to be working on your relationship, because if you were going to sit down and get into something that's happened in the past, or maybe there's an issue that's been going on and you really want to, get it sorted, generally, if things got heated, there would be outlets. You might be able to leave the house, catch up with friends, go down to the pub for a beer, just clear your mind. We don't have those outlets anymore, but also that people in general in relationships are under a lot more stress and pressure. Even though that we're starting to get back to a little bit of normality, there's still a lot of uncertainty, and I think even in a subconscious way, that is playing havoc on people. So when you're trying to address something that's happened in the past or an ongoing issue at the moment because you're at home and you think, well, we're stuck at home, we may as well talk about our relationship, it could be affected by all the other things that are going on at the moment. So you're really not addressing that issue at the heart of it. Instead, you're affected by the stress, the pressure that's going on in your life. So I think this is a part of our relationships where we have to look at survival and support, getting through this time in our lives, supporting each other the best way that we can. And all those things that we need to go into a deeper level, let's see if we can bank those till after the pandemic so we can look at it from more of a clear view, but also being able to have those outlets in place if things do get a little bit more heated.
And so if we do have a conflict or a big argument, how do we best manage that situation?
Well, I think at the moment, and this goes for, even if we're not in a pandemic, you really need to pick your battles. If it is something small that's irritating you, take a moment, take a step back, take a big deep breath, and just actually work out what it is that's bugging you. Because you don't want to be bringing about things that are these silly little annoying habits that are going to have this flow-on effect into a huge argument when it might be something that's going on with yourself and actually not something that's to do with the relationship. So I always think, have a look at whether it's something that needs to be brought up. Then if there is an issue that needs to be discussed, put yourself in your partner's shoes first. Think about it from their perspective, because this is where it can help you to find, that golden C word, compromise, which is the key to any kind of conflict or argument that's going on. But in order to do that, you need to have some insight from an outsider's perspective or from the other person's point of view. So if you're able to stop and think, well, how do they feel about this? Or what might be going on for them? And then bringing up the issue or the thing that you've got to discuss, it might just help you looking at not only how they might be functioning or what they might be doing, but where there might be room for a compromise. You're not going to necessarily get your way all the time or have to necessarily give in to someone else, but you need to find a resolution where both people feel like their needs have been heard and are also being met.
Have you got some ideas on how we can have some fun with our partners? Because that's hugely important. In fact, all the time. It's important to have fun all the time with our partners, not just now, isn't it?
I think we need to bring that element of laughter and joy into our relationships as much as we can. Any little room, it doesn't have to be some big grand gesture, or for some people they feel this pressure about setting up a date night and getting the takeaway and putting the candles out. It could be something even as funny as, let's jump on TikTok together, honey, and let's do a TikTok video, or house party. House party is one of the best apps at the moment that we have. Have a double date with your best friends that you both really enjoy. Grab a glass of wine and have a bit of a laugh about all the silly things that are going on at home and all the arguments that you are having.
Yeah.
Anywhere that you can just add an element that just allows you to stop and have a little bit of a giggle and a little bit of a laugh, I think is really important at the moment, because it only needs to take a few minutes for you to forget the dramas that are going on and forget the way that the world is, and just smile with each other and enjoy each other's company, because really during lockdown, that's all we have is each other. So we also need to enjoy that relationship as well as sort through all the more awkward, stressful kind of stuff as well.
And that leads us to our last question. I mean, how do we manage the sexual side of things when the kids are around constantly and we just don't have any alone time? What's your advice on that?
Well, it's been interesting with isolation, because I think everybody expected that couples just would be getting down and dirty every night of the week. And a lot of people are saying, no, I actually don't feel like that. I think there is the issue at play of stress and anxiety, which can obviously see libido go down the drain, but there's not a break from the kids as well. So I think if you're not in a position where you feel like having a lot of sex at the moment is doable or comfortable, that's okay. Don't freak out or punish your relationship for that. But you also might need to be a little bit creative if you do want to. there's this great window of time between when the kids go to bed and it's a little bit late at night, turn the Netflix off, and instead of sitting there watching TV or watching Netflix or doing a chore, maybe there's time to be together, or maybe it's a matter of saving water and having a shower together. You're looking for those moments where there's a bit of time to be together, and it doesn't even have to be the expectation of sex. It can just be time to be together, and that can lead on to sex. Often for a lot of people, when it comes to scheduling sexy time, as we like to call it, just the pressure of the expectation that's going to happen, or even that scheduling, is enough to kind of turn them off. So I would suggest to schedule some time to be alone together and then see what happens, whether that is sex or no sex.
And if you want to see and hear more from Dr. Nikki, you can follow her on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and make sure you check out her website, drnikki.com.au. That's drnikki.com.au. And Dr. Nikki's book is available as well, Single But Dating. Dr. Nikki, thank you so much. That was absolutely brilliant. And we hope to have you again on Hibernation Station. Thank you so much.
Thanks for that.